Tens of thousands of people go missing in Japan each and every year. Most of these people are soon found safe and well, while others have their cases remain open for years, or even decades. Numerous people seem to vanish of their own free will, while others are involved in unforeseen accidents or terrible tragedies. Yet, it's not very common for someone to disappear right in front of people's eyes, which is exactly what happened in Chiba Prefecture in 1991. On October 26, 1991, Sakuma Nana and her friends were celebrating the end of their midterms. Sakuma lived alone in an apartment with her mother, and her mother was at work for the night, meaning the girls had the place to themselves. They all gathered for a friendly sleepover. Shortly after midnight, the girls realized they'd run out of food, so they decided to jump on their bikes and head to the convenience store to grab some more. Unlike today's convenience stores, however, few were open 24 hours back in 1991. The girls rode to the closest store, but it was already closed. The nearest 24-hour store was over 4 kilometers away. Unfazed, the girls got back on their bikes and started riding again. It should be noted that even today, students from all over Japan use bicycles to ride to and from school, often over large distances. So, to these 4 girls, 4 kilometers didn't seem like a big deal. Little did they know what was lying ahead, however. Only a few days earlier, a large typhoon had torn through Chiba Prefecture. The roads were covered in debris, including fallen trees, loose branches, and other trash that had been tossed around in the high winds. Cleanup had begun, but much of the debris still lay on the side of the roads. The girls took National Highway 126 on their way towards the convenience store, and 30 minutes later, they arrived with little trouble. They stocked up on snacks including tea, chips, pizza, and rice bowls, then jumped back on their bikes to go home. The road back was not as smooth, however, and at some point, Sakuma ran into a tree lying across her path. This sent her flying from her bike and she landed with a painful thud. Her 3 friends stopped and ran back to check on her, but Sakuma claimed she was okay. At the very least, she wasn't badly hurt, just shaken. She'd just been tossed from her bike in the darkness by a large stray tree branch, after all. The girls stopped to chat and give Sakuma a moment to recover. Before long, an older man walked by. He passed the girls, stopped a short distance away, and then turned back around. "Hey, what are you doing out here so late at night?" he said. Short, stout, and in his 50s, the man approached the girls again, telling them that he was a protective counselor. He continued, claiming that it was illegal for anyone under 16 to be outside this late without their parents. The girls, being junior high students, started to panic. They had been laughing and making quite a bit of noise, and it was well after midnight. They genuinely believed they were in trouble. The man didn't stop there. "I should let the police know about this, but just today I'll let you off if you tell me why you're out. You over there, come with me." He pointed to Sakuma and instructed her 3 friends to go home. They, terrified and in a state of panic, asked the man what they should do with Sakuma's bike. In the heat of the moment, it didn't even occur to them that there was no such thing as a protective counselor in their area, nor was it illegal for them to be out so late. The man said he would take the bike back later with his truck, and frightened, the girls did as he said and got back on their own bikes to return to Sakuma's apartment. They left her alone with the man. They never saw her again. Sakuma's case is interesting because she was, in essence, snatched right in front of her friends' eyes, and they did nothing to stop it. It's no doubt a question that has plagued them in the decades that followed. Could they have done something, anything to change how events played out. The girls returned to Sakuma's house, but as they waited and things started to calm down, they realized something was terribly wrong with the entire situation. With Sakuma's mother at work and Sakuma herself holding the key, the girls waited an hour and a half outside her apartment before some boys from their class happened to walk by. The girls ran down to tell them about what had happened, and the boys immediately knew something was wrong. It was then, roughly 2 hours after the girls had last seen Sakuma, that they called their own parents to let them know what had happened. By this point, it was nearly 3 a.m. Sakuma's mother was also informed, and she set out with the other parents to scour the neighborhood for her daughter. There was no sign of her anywhere. They then went to the Chiba Higashi police station at 4:20 a.m. to officially report her missing. The girls described the man to police as 155 centimeters tall, of stocky build and probably in his 50s. He had thin, almond-shaped eyes and was wearing a striped long-sleeved shirt with black pants and a black knitted cap. Much like the typical image of a thief or robber prowling the night streets, perhaps. They also reported that he kept his hands in his pockets when he spoke to them and squared his shoulders in an attempt to intimidate them. At 155 centimeters, he was rather short, but his build still made him rather imposing to the young girls. Sakuma herself was only 5 centimeters shorter than him, but at 42 kilograms, she was a tiny girl. Those who knew Sakuma described her as beautiful, beautiful enough to become an idol if she so wanted. Many feared this was the exact reason the man singled her out from the group. Police were able to piece together a brief, somewhat incomplete timeline of Sakuma and her kidnappers' movements after the girls last saw them. A driver saw a pair matching their description between 1:20 and 1:30 a.m. at an intersection a short distance from where the girls had last seen her. At 2:15 a.m., roughly 45 minutes later, the pair were seen near the Chishirodai North monorail station. They were still on foot and appeared to be heading northwest. They were last spotted at 4 a.m. in a residential area of Chishirodai. After that, neither was seen again. Sakuma and her kidnapper seemingly vanished into thin air. Numerous theories have emerged over the years as to what really happened to her. Some claim that the man was a North Korean agent and she was smuggled out of the country. His threatening manner, the ease with which he was able to extract the girl from her friends, and his odd use of the term protective counselor made some suspect that perhaps he wasn't Japanese at all. Yet most agree that, if anything, this was little more than an attack of opportunity, able to be carried out because the girls were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. The only reason the man came across the girls was because Sakuma hit a tree branch that had fallen in the typhoon a few days earlier. It was by chance that their nearby convenience store was closed, and so they had to go to one further away. It was by chance that the man happened to be passing by at that very moment. The kidnapping was not planned. The man even walked past the girls first, before stopping and turning around. It's likely the idea hit him when he saw the girls and he realized he might be able to get away with it. And he did. Sakuma's case remains unsolved to this day. If still alive, she would be in her early 40s by now. It was reported that Sakuma's mother moved back to her own parents' house after the disappearance of her daughter, but she continued to rent the apartment they had lived in, just in case her daughter returned. Neighbors said they never saw the lights turn on after that, but her mother left a window open at all times. It wasn't until 2005, 14 years later, that her mother finally vacated the apartment for good. What happened to Sakuma that fateful night? We may never know, but at the very least, we can make sure she's never forgotten. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.